Now, Gauteng Police Commissioner Elias Mawela has condemned the killing of 7 suspected criminals on Friday evening in Diepsloot in the northwest of Johannesburg. Community members say they are fed up with criminals who are terrorizing their community. And this comes after 19-year-old Katlego Mphuthi and 6 others were killed after some community members allegedly took part in an act of mob justice. Police have urged community members to not take matters into their own hands. Let's unpack what happened and, more importantly, what the solutions possibly look like. Bring in Loyiso Toyiya, who's the Diepsloot Community Forum Chairperson, with us in our studios this Monday morning. And it's great to have you on the program, sir. Thanks very much indeed for going this kati khuluma nathi. You know, the sad thing is that this is not new. You know, we've been here before in communities like Diepsloot. But let's just begin, for people who haven't been keeping up with the story, with what happened.
We had received some calls late in the evening, Friday, that the community have apprehended criminals and they are beating them, burning them to death. Same thing happened the following day on Saturday. Up to 7 alleged criminals that were banned by the community. Indeed, this is not normal. We condemn such an act of violence. But you remember, in the community for the past month, we have been crying about the crime that is happening in the community with no assistance from authority. We even went further to the office of the president to say they must intervene by bringing different ministries in Diepsloot to resolve the issue of crime, because we understood that the issue of crime in Diepsloot is not only about policing, it had to do with human settlement and other ministries that we think they must involve to have a permanent solution. Instead of government coming in on board and assisting the community, they chose to arrest some of us. We were arrested for raising these issues that come down. Let's have a permanent solution in dealing with the issue of crime. Day in, day out, the sounds of guns in Diepsloot. People are killed, people are mobbed, people are mugged. So it's a bad situation. Hence, we are not saying what the community have done is right. That is not normal. It can't be normal. It is not normal for a community day in, day out they are being killed. It is not normal that you wake up one day, 7 people are burned to death.
Absolutely. So, especially when you hear the details of how it happened. I mean, some people being apparently necklaced in their killing. What I can't help but notice is how young some of these guys are. I mean, a 19-year-old to be among people who've been killed in this way. They have to have been known to the community. I suspect, in one instance or the other. There's going to be a lot of questions about how the situation got here to begin with.
I want to put it, there's no child that would give birth to, there's no parent that would give birth to a child and say, I'm grooming my child to be a criminal. I'm thinking about the parents of these children who were bent down by the community. This is indeed an unfortunate situation that as leaders, at this point, some of us, there's nothing we can do. Usually, when these kind of things were happening, we'll go as leaders to diffuse the situation. But we can't now.
Are you saying it's out of your control?
If I were to be close to that area, I can tell you today I was going to be arrested because I was going to be accused as an instigator. Usually we'll diffuse this situation and apprehend criminals and hand them over to the police. Because we have a government now that does not have a solution or a way of dealing with crime that is happening in our community. Not only in Diepsloot, in Westbury, people are being killed, Daylight, Cape Flat, Alexander, in all this area. We don't have a political will to deal with these issues. They will look for a quick solution and arrest leaders and try to intimidate you so that you don't raise this issue and expose how useless they are. This could have been avoided if by that time we went to Union Building, we call on this ministry to come down to Diepsloot so that we can have a solution in this issue of crime in Diepsloot. None of this could have happened if the leaders could have listened to us at that time.
You've mentioned twice now that it's the leaders that are being targeted for trying to raise these issues, and I presume you feel you're among those people being targeted. Why do you reckon that is? I mean, why would authorities come after you as opposed to the criminals?
I'm attending even a court case now when we were protesting, peacefully protesting against crime in Diepsloot. No one was harmed, no infrastructures were destroyed, nothing. I think the reason that they will target leaders, when you've got nothing to offer as a leader and the ground is no longer holding for you, you feel intimidated by those who are able to mobilize and conscientize the community to say something is wrong here. So I think political leaders felt intimidated by us mobilizing and able to engage with the community, because it's something that they are unable to do. They are no longer able to go to the community because they've lied too much to the people. They are unable now to go down to the people and engage with them and bring about solution. They chose an easy way out to diffuse the situation and arrest leaders.
What becomes then your role, given the complexity of the situation? You and I both agree that what happened this weekend, at the very least, is untenable, and that's putting it very lightly, right? On the other hand, you're saying that in some ways your hands are tied, because if you are visible and seen, then you too may be arrested. But we'll also both agree that a solution has to be found in the midst of this complexity. What does that look like for you?
Indeed, we must do something and try to engage with our community as we usually do and condemn this kind of acts, barbaric act, and say this is not how we should do things. As much as the people have felt that they've been failed by the police, they've been failed by government, because they've been raising these issues of crime in Diepsloot. Day in, day out, people are crying, people are being killed, people are being shot at each and every day. The police will tell you that we can't access certain areas in Diepsloot. These are the areas that we're mentioning when we are wanting a permanent solution. We say human settlements must come in so that we can formalize these informal areas so that the police can be able to access. But to our surprise, some of the police then are able to access those areas when they allege that they were looking for bribes. You see, so this is the situation that we really need a political will to resolve these issues. Yeah,
it sounds to me that there's also been a very serious breakdown in the trust between local police and residents, especially in Diepsloot. I mean, we were there before when tensions flared up. I think it was a couple of months ago as well. And even then, you got a sense that even police aren't perhaps best placed to be intervening, even though technically that's their job, What happens in a situation where the very police who are meant to fix this are the ones who residents don't trust?
We even suggested that we need a police department must bring a system of police rotation, because we found out that once these police stay in a station for long, they become comfortable in that station. They become part of the criminal syndicate that are happening in those communities. So if the police department can bring a system whereby a police cannot stay in a community for 1 year, they must rotate them. I think that will be the solution. Indeed, the trust between the police and the community is not there. These are some of the things that we've raised even previously when we say, can we also bring the Justice Department on board so that they can be able to answer some of the questions that are raised. You'll find out a well-known criminal that is terrorizing the community, arrested today, 2 days, 3 days later is out. People get confused and people get scared. They don't trust the police. They blame the police. How can this person that is a well-known criminal is out now, is out to intimidate the same community that got him arrested? So these are the situations that people are facing. Then the trust between the police and criminals are no longer reported now.
Yeah. Look, this is an awkward question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. In instances like what happened in Diepsloot on Friday and Saturday, the community knows in many instances who did what happened, right? And I wonder whether, as a sign of taking these matters seriously, whether you'd encourage residents to come forward and tell police who they reckon is behind these instances of mob justice, because it happened in a public area and somebody must have seen something.
Yeah, of course, someone must have seen something of what happened, but it's a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
I can tell you, no one will come forward and say so-and-so did what. because this is the same community that has been terrorized by criminals. Indeed, in a situation like this, you will hope that whoever have done something wrong must be held accountable. But it's a very difficult situation, even for the community. You can go down to the community now. Others are really celebrate because, and you can't blame them. These are the people that have been making a call to say, assist us, who are being terrorized, come down, who are being terrorized by criminal. I really blame our government for not doing what they should have done earlier. All this could have been avoided. None of this, even including the killing of people, innocent people, during prior to this matter of these alleged 7 criminals. All these things could have been avoided if we had people who have a political will to resolve our issues in this country.
Absolutely. I imagine as the business day begins this Monday, there's going to be all kinds of meetings behind closed doors from government who, without a doubt, are probably watching even our discussion now. And they're going to want to be seen to be doing something in response to yet another shocking incident in a place like Diepsloot. And you've mentioned before that a lot has been said. The ministers have been there before. They've made all kinds of promises, and yet here we are. I wonder what you reckon would be the singular thing that they do now that will shift the dial and convince residents that they're finally taking this seriously.
We have said it before. Even when we went to the office of the president, he said to them, come down and resolve these issues. That's what they know. They will behave like movie stars when their TV is on the ground. They will come and act as if they are resolving these issues. We have said it before that we don't want a solution that will last for a week or a month, as they usually do. When there are problems in Diepsloot, they will come and deploy a TRT team for a month or a week, and then after that they withdraw them. Then the crime skyrocket again. We don't want those things. We want a permanent solution. We don't want people who will come just because something have happened. People must come willingly. They are political conscious and leadership conscious, must speak to them. This is their responsibility to protect their own citizens. They must not protect or be reactionary to situations when something terrible has happened. Community has been crying day in, day out, each and every day about crime in Diepsloot. Yeah. Not only Diepsloot, my brother, even in other areas.
Absolutely. What does that permanent solution look like?
We have said bring 4 ministries: Home Affairs, Justice, Human Settlement, and Police. Because we've been saying that the issue of crime in Diepsloot is not only a policing issue. It has to do with how the area is. That must be dealt with by human settlement. We have a problem of illegal foreigners that are in the country. 40% of the people in Diepsloot are illegal people. That must be dealt with. We have a situation, the one that I've just mentioned now, a person will be arrested 2 or 3 days, a well-known criminal is out, and the police will say, no, it's because of the court. Justice system must come and explain to us why, when the communities work so hard to apprehend a criminal, after 3 or 4 days, that criminal will be out. What is wrong with the system? So that we deal with this issue permanently. Because police will say, we can't access other areas. We can't access extension 13, 12, and number 1. So human settlement must come on board to assist those police with formalizing those areas so that they're able to access those areas that are inaccessible.
You know, I'm listening to you now, and I'm sure they've heard this before, and I have to ask the question, what will it take to finally get to the bottom of this? But, Loyiso, thank you for coming through and ventilating the issues from your vantage point. Really do appreciate your time on the AM Report.
Pleasure.
Loyiso Toyiya is the Diepsloot Community Forum Chairperson as we take stock of what took place in that troubled community over the weekend. 2 separate mob attacks leading to 7 fatalities or 7 deaths of suspected criminals. It's an important story and one we'll continue watching for you without a doubt.